How to hope against hope? Well, I think you have to have a reason to hope. There has to be something to hope in or hope for. I think hope is talked a lot today like a superficial thing that we can find inside ourselves or look in the small things of life and that sort of thing. But I really believe that to hope, we need to know what we're hoping in and for. And so I find it really hard to think of hope separate from God himself and what he represents. And I think that when you know a God who loves us and is powerful and beyond all the sickness and suffering and challenging things that we have in this world, then you can hope even when it's a dark place, even when we're in a hard time. We can hope because we stand on solid ground. We have a peace and a hope beyond understanding, like it says in the Word. I think first you have to discover for yourself what hope really is and where it comes from. And when you're filled with the hope and love of God, then you have everything you need to bless others. And I don't mean you have to have a degree in theology, or you have to have been a Christian for many years, or you have to have an amazing life or have everything figured out. That's not what I mean. I mean, the moment you encounter Jesus and who he really is, even on the hardest days, even when you're sad or going through a difficult time, you can be a hope to other people because you know the source of hope. You know where it comes from. So I think the best way that we can be a light and a hope to this world is by just hanging out with Jesus, spending time with him. That's the best thing that we have to offer this world. Yeah. Well, it depends what you mean by church not being interesting or inspiring. It can mean different things. I think I know what you mean. I mean, there are so many different cultures and styles and denominations and ways that churches are. And of course, church is us. Church is the family of believers. And therefore, it's human. And a lot of it is human-made. And there are things about it that, of course, then are not perfect. The church that Jesus established is the people who love like he did, who forgive 70 times 7 and care for each other. So I think we start there. We start with accepting each other the way Jesus accepts us, by having a lot of grace and humility and love towards each other. And it's also about not seeing the church for what it can give me, but for what I can give to the people that I'm meeting there. So, I mean, I've been part of loads of different kinds of churches. I grew up in Brazil, and in Brazil I was part of more charismatic churches, more conservative churches, churches that have loud worship. In Brazil, and then I was born in the UK, and my church in the UK is a more quiet, a bit more traditional Baptist church, and the worship is totally different. In Poland, I've been part of different churches as well, and I can really enjoy those differences. But no matter what kind of church I've been in, it's always been important to look at what can I give? How can I bless those people I'm meeting in that place? What do I have to offer? And I found that when I have that feeling, that attitude, that vision, then it doesn't really matter what kind of church it is. I can bring change. I guess a few things are important for me. Church needs to teach the Bible. It's got to teach God's word. It's the ground we stand on. It's got to be a place that is open to new people, to welcoming those from outside. That's so important. But with those things in place, then I think a lot of love and grace and humility, we can be a blessing in the church we're in. Only 5. Well, I could give you one. I could give you one tip for having a good life, and that is to spend time with Jesus. That's the most important one. And then I think everything else stems from that. So for me, passion is really important in life. And to really have something that you're giving your whole life to, that you're willing to live for or to die for. And we get that. For me, that comes from spending time with Jesus, listening to him, praying, reading the Bible, asking him what he wants to do in my life. And when I get an idea, get a vision from him, get a calling from him, to obey that, whatever it is, even if it's something crazy, to step out in faith, to take risks. And every time I pray something and I see God giving me an answer, and then I act on that, I do something with it, so I take a step of faith, and then I see God move, I see him answer prayers, I see things happen, it confirms that faith. So I get even more excited because I've prayed, I've seen him give me a vision, then I've seen him move through that vision, through that action, and then I can go back to him again with more. So it's like a cycle of stepping out in faith. Sometimes our life can get dry and empty when we stop stepping out in faith and doing the things God has called us to do. And I think we can do that no matter the situation and no matter what we're going through. Forgive easily. That's a really important tip. There's not enough forgiveness in our world today, and we don't often we don't learn that in our families growing up, how to forgive. Forgiveness is so key because I'm going to make loads of mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody is. And so we have to learn to do what Jesus did and forgive those who have hurt us or who we fall out with and have misunderstandings. And it changes things so much because it gives you hope. It gives you an ability to live free of the weight and the bitterness that sometimes comes into our hearts when there's division. Maybe one last one. I don't know if I'm at 5 or not, but one last one is to have purpose and discipline in what we do. Sometimes our culture kind of teaches us to just cruise through life. Doesn't matter what you believe, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter, just be whoever you want to be. It kind of kills passion to an extent, but also it can leave you just floating through life and not really doing things that really matter. And I think our time is precious. I think we should be using our time for the most important things. So when you spend time with God and you hear from him what's on his heart and what's in the Bible, spend your time doing those most important things and be disciplined about it. You know, get up early, read your Bible, pray, seek God, work well, be an example in your work, in your university, in your school. And through that rhythm of life of taking things seriously, you can have an impact in the world around you and really make history. And I think that's what God calls us to. I think we need a new generation of missionaries who's really making a difference in the world today. And that'll take giving all our effort, our lives, our discipline, our passion to see that done. So be on fire for Jesus. Give it your all. In the new year, I would love to go visit my friends in Brazil. I haven't been there for a while, and I'm hoping to go if the whole COVID rules and etc. allow with my family. I'd love to have awesome time with my kids, Daniel and Sarah, and my wife, Anya. I'd really like to improve in my Polish. That's something I've prayed about because it's such a difficult language. But probably my biggest wish and desire is that more people would meet Jesus. I'm just convinced of that week by week, day after day, more and more strongly, how much this world needs Jesus, how broken this world is. I mean, I'm talking about inside and outside the church. I mean, I hear stories every week of people who have just been through so much pain and loneliness and suffering, and they need hope from God so much. So I want to see more people meet Jesus. I want to be used by him to see thousands get to know him. And I don't mean that because I think I'm great or something. I just want to be useful to his kingdom. And so I'm praying that God would use me, our church, the mission we're part of, to bring light to this world. And so I have a big prayer and wish that next year we would see many thousands of people come to Jesus.
Dziękujemy, że byliście razem z nami. Jeżeli chcesz wesprzeć to, co robimy, na ekranie pojawi się teraz numer konta oraz kod QR, który przekieruje cię do szybkich płatności. Śledźcie naszego Facebooka, Spotify'a, YouTube'a, Instagrama i do zobaczenia.